Let's see. Make sure I got what I'm doing here.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Sorry, I was in my
Hey,
AC.
that's all right. Glad to have you here with us. I'll notes out of here. Do we have a quorum? I do believe we have a quorum here. We're missing Sam and
Mr. Tyson.
Mr. Tyson. Okay. So we do have a quorum. Let's see. Charge to the board. I'm not real sure what that's supposed to be. I'm still learning this job. But I would like to say that as a board, we are going to have some changes coming up. That's one of the main reasons I think we're here for this meeting, is to get started with some of those changes. So with the board that we have, some younger folks, I would like to personally charge each one of us to really start paying attention to these new ordinances that are going to be coming up that the Council of Government is going to teach us about. And let's be a little bit different, more proactive board than what we might have had to have been in the past. So with that, I'd like to ask for if there are any changes to the minutes from last meeting. And if there are no changes, do I have a motion for approval?
So
Or
moved.
do we, can we do that by acclamation?
You can. I spoke briefly with Brooke about one minor change, and she's already
Okay.
incorporated that, and I think you can do it by acclamation if you want to.
All right. Any disagreement with that? All right, on to the business at hand. The agenda really doesn't say why we're gonna be here. But I think the main reason we're gonna be here, well, it does too. The revamping of the Scotland County subdivision manufacturing home park ordinance. Will, can you tell us a little bit about Jean and what she has talked to you about on this? Has she talked to you about anything on this at all?
Yes, she is gonna come here, whenever the scheduling works for the board. She is from Pembroke, and, she is rewriting our ordinance, and she basically wants to know for July, August, September, and October, do we want to meet on our regular meeting nights? And as I put on the agenda, these meetings will be about an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And she knows that we're not, I discussed with her, we're not used to meeting that long. So I don't know, after we agree on something tonight, I have to correspond with her to let her know, do we want to meet on regular meeting nights, which is on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, or do we want to meet during the workday? I don't know everybody's schedule. We have to come up with something so that we can get in line to meet with her next month.
Well, my personal schedule is I have my own business. I can make my own schedule. Let's hear from everybody else. What,
I'm available whenever.
If we come on a Wednesday, our regular meeting night, of course, I don't have to do a public notice or anything like that, and I don't mind doing one, but if we come at 7 o'clock, we're gonna be here at 9:30. Being how many questions we have for her, what kind of material she brings, how long she talks. I've never, met with her. We've just, talked through email. And we did have a virtual meeting with her, Kevin and myself, when we signed the contract with them. But, we just gotta come up with a time so that she can fit it into her schedule to come here.
she's willing to work that just about any way that we feel that we can do it.
Yes, she said, whenever our meeting is over tonight, I get in touch with her and let her know what we're all in agreement with, and then she will work around that.
Okay. John, I know you probably got things going crazy still, right?
Oh, yeah, but I think earlier would be better for me too.
So say an hour earlier on a regular meeting night?
I can probably do about anything you want. Cause our daughter's schedules have changed for the summer.
Yeah.
So I'm game for whatever, 5:36, whatever.
Mr. Graham,
Anytime.
anytime?
My only concern for like 5:30 or 6 is, that would be at dinner time. It's completely up to y'all, but I will be able to like have something here if we did do it earlier, as far as like Jersey Mike's or something like that, if we done it at an earlier time, like at dinner time. So I will be able to do that if it makes it easier for everybody.
You say like 5 to 7 or something like that?
Mhm, yes, sir.
I kind of
I
like
can do
that
that as
idea.
well.
Yeah.
And, is that acceptable with everybody? 5 to 7 on a regular meeting night?
Mighty quiet.
And
Yeah.
I'm anticipating that rather than schedule additional meetings right now, we get involved with her on one meeting and see how that goes. And from there, plan additional meetings if we need them. What does everybody else feel
She
about that?
says prior to doing an ordinance that it does take 3 to 4 meetings at 2 hours, because she broke it down into, as I showed you in the agenda, the articles, like with the 1 through 7, Article 1 through 7, she would need 2 hours. Article 8 through 10, she would need 2 hours, and then Article 11 through 14, she would need 2 hours.
And if we did it one meeting at a time, you'd have to do a notice each time, wouldn't you, as opposed to?
As for the time change, if it's gonna be on a regular meeting night, but
But if you went to the 5 to 7.
yes,
If you schedule 3 meetings now, you could do one notice, right? Or not?
that is correct.
If we didn't need it, we could always kill it.
Yeah.
But schedule them so everybody knows.
Sounds like we need to do all three at the same time. She needs 3 meetings to do all 3 at the same time. You do it one time, and we'll already have it set.
And then if we have to do additional meetings,
We can do.
The last one would be in October if we did not cover everything, or if we still had questions, concerns, anything like that, then we could go through to October.
and what's Kevin's time frame on having all of this completed?
It's completely up to who is here. You mean completed?
The new ordinances,
Deadline.
the deadline for the new ordinances.
He is completely fine with however long it takes us, as long as we have it adopted by January 22.
So if this board met in October and reported to the commissioners by their November meeting, that would be.
That is correct.
And I am assuming that she is also incorporating everything in there that,
Yes.
all right.
She
I
said
like-
she is gonna go over every single material, every single thing to do with our ordinance in the 2 hours of each meeting, and if we need longer, she is willing to do that.
Okay,
Question on that, is she going to, and it might speed the meeting up a little if she does this, but I don't know what she plans to do, but is she gonna let the board members and all of us have copies of whatever it is she's gonna go over before the
Yes,
meeting?
she is gonna send to me, and of course I'll make copies, but we will have something on hand to look at in front of us, yes.
do you think we could get that ahead of time?
That I don't know, that is completely up to her. I mean, I
know for
will,
me personally, I like to have the documents with enough time to look over them
Mhm.
and make sure I understand where they're going.
right, I understand. The day that she sends it to me, I can make copies. You can come by and get it if you want to, or you can do it by mail. I'll get it to you as soon as it gets to me. And I can ask her when I report to her after this meeting, how soon before she is here can we get what she's gonna be presenting when she gets here?
Okay. And I don't know about the legal issue with this, but I had said something to Brooke about getting stuff by email earlier. Is there any chance
No,
that,
there's no legal issue with that, it's a public record, but, there shouldn't be anything there that would.
so rather than you printing it up and getting everybody 25 or 50 pages.
Whatever works
Some
for
of us
y'all,
are
I will
probably
do
gonna
that.
need printed copies, but I'd like to have it where I could download it and have it on my tablet and have it available.
The only two people out of all board members I don't have email addresses for is, Mr. Cleo, and I'll mail his out if that works for him, or he can come out and get it. Whatever works for everybody, I'm willing to do. And I don't have an email address for Mr. Crib.
I don't think Sam
I
has
don't believe
any.
you're gonna get one.
I didn't think even one
Yeah.
probably did. But whatever works easiest, I can get you the packet that way.
Okay,
It doesn't have to be mailed out.
save the trees. You can email it.
Save your time and the trees and money.
So before everybody leaves today, if you'll just look at my, paper and make sure that the email address is correct that I have, so we don't run into the problem of I didn't get it.
I think it would help each of the board members, and I know it would help me if I had it enough in advance to have a chance to at least look at it,
Mhm.
know if there's something I had a question about or didn't understand, or
It make meetings go faster.
on.
Sure.
Now, this is the zoning packet. What about subdivision regulations? Is that coming
That's
through?
part of the whole,
You're combining the two together?
Well, actually, which copy, do you have a copy
Zoning
like
ordinance only.
this?
Yeah, this is what I got here, but this describes all the zoning. Now, what about the subdivision regulations? Are we redoing those?
I
Or is it
think it's
just
all
zoning?
being redone. Subdivision, manufactured home,
No, I just,
It's everything
granted, I just
according to-
opened this packet.
yeah, everything
Am I
according to
missing
one
anything
sixty
here?
D. The changes in 160D is regulated by the state government.
Mhm.
You know, all of that, and that covers everything.
that covers everything.
And if you want some really boring reading, go on the North Carolina government website and just do just do a website search for NC 160D
Yeah,
and download the PDF. Little print, about like that, 66 pages long, and you'd be surprised what all's in there.
I think, John, 40, in the original packet we had last month on May 19th, line 46 through 48, 49 covers subdivision changes or modifications.
and zoning ordinance,
No, the
Yeah.
packet where it.
the whole
said-
packet.
The requires
The required
subdivision
and
ordinance, subdivision
recommendation.
ordinance 2.3, 3.1, and then 2.8. There will be changes made on those sections for sure.
Yeah.
May 19th,
He don't look at nothing I see. It don't matter if I send it with a bird. He
Hey,
ain't gonna look at it.
I'm sorry, Meg.
And sometimes I'll walk it
Was
across the street to him to make sure that he looks at it.
I had to look at it again too, but, because that's what we voted on last time was what was in red, so they could go ahead and move forward with it, and that hits some of those subdivision things, but if something else pops up, there are some recommended changes to it as well.
A lot of the other stuff in this is really not directly relevant to planning and zoning. A lot of it has to do with, what's the word I want to use?
Procedures.
No, who has the authority to enforce and that type of thing, which, we don't. So,
I mean, zoning tells you what, can be permitted in those areas. It can tell you what's the minimums for like size of lands and stuff. I'm looking, are we not redoing the subdivision ordinance? Where is a copy of that is what I'm asking for.
if you've got the 2003 book,
Well, I do not with me though.
well, it's in 3 sections. Each one of them's got a red cover in front of it. Subdivision is the second section, and then the third section is development, operation, manufacturing home parks.
I got the old copy, but they hadn't done a new version of it yet.
Since '03.
Yeah. I thought, okay, so they're just.
But they're bringing that, they are redoing that, are they not?
Right.
Yeah, should be going over that.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. We just don't have that in hand
No,
yet.
no.
This is just a zoning ordinance. And I was just wanting to see the subdivision as well, and I want to make sure we're redoing it, because that's one that I know we need a lot of changes in.
You're saying this doesn't cover that?
The way that's broke out, they're gonna have a subdivision ordinance that's gonna be structured just like this packet
Yeah.
here. That's what I was wanting to see a rough draft of, and that's what I'm really
I think that's what
interested in.
Jane's gonna be bringing to us when she
So
does
she's gonna bring it
homework.
with her, we don't have, okay, I just wanna make sure I hadn't missing a copy of it, because,
No,
this doesn't cover any of the major things I want to look at, yeah.
and one thing too, and I don't know if this is something that anybody be interested in, but, UNC Chapel Hill School of Government has videos. Some of them are free and downloadable to watch, and they talk to you about, zoning and planning and various things like that. And if you just sit down one night and, John, I know you got plenty of spare time. Just, go online and look up some of these videos and go through some, because they give you a good bit of explanation about some stuff that I know personally I wasn't told about. When I came on the board, they said, here's your book, have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's pretty beneficial. And what I was thinking, maybe, even if I can get Kevin to go along with it, as we progress as a board and we get the new ordinances and changes are made, we'll see what happens to the county. It may be beneficial that some or all of us, even if it costs some money, go to some of these, seminars that they have through the, School of Government and become updated. And that may actually even be beyond us. It may be stuff that Brooke would do. And, even beyond what we would be needing to do. So, but I think it might be something to look at in the future. But it's interesting looking at the videos anyway.
Well, I got a question. While we were reviewing this, being this is the zoning regulations, not the subdivision regulations, I guess the question for Brooke or maybe Ed would have it. Is there any major issues with zoning that we need to concentrate on, like solar panels? The last experience that we had with the military contractors, is there anything particular we need to kind of be thinking on or looking at a little harder that y'all run
I
into?
think a lot of what the focus may be, of course, it's up to y'all to report out what you want to report out, but the ordinance itself is so old.
Yeah.
That things
Right.
like solar farms
I agree with you.
didn't exist or were not, we didn't have any sort of involvement with them for a long time, but the newer things that have come down that just were not anticipated. And, you may have a list of permitted uses in the ordinance and some that are not permitted upright, but the conditional uses. And there's some things that didn't even exist when that list was made.
I agree with you, but so many of these are like a standard formatted document prepared that most counties, municipalities use
No doubt.
as a general thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just asking, is there anything particular that y'all know that you've had problems with, maybe people coming to you about wanting to put something that we need to take extra time and look at, a little above and beyond just the general business zoning information?
Well, I think the Board of Commissioners is definitely gonna be interested in knowing, now that we're through and we're not in the immediate situation we were in with the tactical training facility and the combat facilities, is probably gonna want this board's thinking on whether we change any of that or not, because this is a good opportunity to do it, because
That's what-
we're doing it in a vacuum.
Yeah, do it when there's no heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a lot easier than last time.
That's just one example.
Right.
But, so you may want to look at some sort of limitations on the number of solar farms. Not that they're bad, but I mean, or anything else that you think we may have more of than we need.
Right now, that's kind of self-limiting because they've got all the transmission lines they don't have any more capacity.
Yeah.
But in the future, if they put additional transmission lines, that's definitely something I think. What I would suggest is that if anybody has a concern at our first meeting with Jean, we bring that up and she may be able to tell us immediately, yes, that's covered, or no, I need to look at it and add it to it.
Yeah, I think sounds like she's gonna be a lot of big help, because she may have already crossed, assuming that the company she works for does this every day, may have come across this in another county and have a solution we didn't think about. I was just curious if there's anything new that we may need to pay more attention to that's been a problem for you or Ed or.
And I don't know in the past when they've done changes, because it looks like there was never any changes from 1975 to 1999.
I just found out horribly.
And then in 2003, they did some changes.
Right.
And what I'm wondering is, did they have the help that we're gonna have this time, or did the board have to do all of that? And I'm just grateful we don't have to do all of it this time. So,
It's nothing you want us to think on?
Not that, I mean, I do think there needs to be something in the ordinance on the solar panels. That was on my list. And have a better understanding of, the tactical training, people wanting to bring or have shooting ranges.
The shooting ranges, for sure.
And, you know, that kind of thing is what I run into often. And when I refer to my ordinance, there's nothing there on it. You just kind of have to go by what somebody has done in the past 10 years. So there's really no documentation saying this is why you can or this is why you can't. And then something else that I have had a question about is short-term rentals.
Like Airbnbs.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing in our ordinance that says we can or we can't.
make a list.
Well, I have my list.
That's a good one.
And as it happens, you know, I kind of just say, you know, I need better understanding of this. We need something in our ordinance that says this. I just don't like to say, no, we can't. I want to say, I'm sorry, we can't, and this is why. This is in the ordinance. This is why we can't do it.
Yeah.
It tells what the rules are. But the Airbnb thing is big in
It's
the
prominent,
neighborhoods.
it's prominent in Moore County for sure. There's several
Where?
in Moore,
Oh, yeah.
but there's 2 or 3 on this side of Aberdeen, but, yeah, that's something I've never thought about.
We have several in Deercroft. And, you know, neighbors have said, you know, we don't want just strangers staying next door.
Well, they passed a modification to the restrictive covenants up there to
Okay.
address it, and maybe they'll take.
Was that the past year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that's when I've had the most issue with it.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Especially when there's a tournament coming up,
Oh,
Pinehurst.
oh, yeah.
John, you know, you mentioned subdivision regs. You know this as well as anybody else. This board hadn't even looked at a subdivision in Scotland County in probably 20 years.
Well, everybody gets confused with the word subdivision. When you say subdivision, you think of Deercroft.
Well,
Anytime
no,
piece-
I mean,
But every time, but you're right, a major subdivision is what I,
one that had to come through this board to get approved.
Yeah.
And scrutinized and passed on to the commissioners,
that would be,
a full-blown
that would-
subdivision.
yeah, that would be a real eye opener for all of us. wouldn't it?
But a piece of property is divided, that's a subdivision.
Anytime it's divided, it's subdivision, but, there's minor, most time minors and major. Minors usually, creating no more, what, 3 lots and stuff like that, road frontage and.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one we're gonna have a lot of, I think the zoning here, other than those few issues like Brooke brought up, is gonna be pretty straightforward. Almost no brainers to extent, except for maybe those hot subjects, the rental and, solar panels, but subdivision ordinance, there's several things that I think we're gonna end up, tossing around quite a bit. Now, when these meetings are coming about, she's gonna go through this book, but is that to cover this and the subdivision ordinance, or just?
I don't
We'll
know
figure
her
it out.
method yet. Her and I will talk more after this meeting when she finds out, you know, when we want to meet and how we're gonna meet. She'll kind of school me on how it's gonna work when she gets here.
So 5 to 7 regular meetings and additional meetings as needed. From now to October.
Yeah,
And
so-
if for whatever reason we're finished before then or whatever, I mean.
I'm sure Kevin would like for us, and the board would like for us to be done early, but I think they would prefer that we get it done right
Yeah.
and get done early. So,
So it's the third Wednesday of July, August, September, and October, just shifting the meeting from 7 to 5, is that what you're
Mhm.
thinking of, and just keep it on the same schedule, just move it
Yeah.
earlier in the day.
We'll have the option to add meetings if we need to.
Yes.
Right.
Add one.
And if something came up in normal business, we'd do it at 7.
Well, that's the thing. We would have to conduct our normal business. Then when that has been
Dispatch.
completed, then we will start with the
Okay.
ordinance. So it will put us back.
Is that okay with her, or do we have to do normal business
She
first?
said whatever worked for this board.
Because if we did the new business at 7, she could leave. That doesn't work.
Our business probably shouldn't take more than a minute or two on
And
average.
I didn't know if there was any, rule to this, but can you come before we start the meeting? Like, if someone had
The board members or an
the
applicant?
public, like, would they have to stay through our training in order for us
Oh,
to
no,
do
they
their
could come at
business?
whatever time you told them, but, I mean, if you said that their application was gonna be considered at, like Jim said, at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Point of order at
they
7
would just
o'clock.
come then.
Okay. That was what I was wondering. I didn't know if they had to sit through our training
No,
or.
no.
Okay,
Oh,
I was just trying to get her out of here.
yeah. And not have them sit here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, if you don't advertise it as a meeting from 5 to 7, you advertise it as a meeting that starts at 5 and then,
I'll have to advertise it as a special meeting,
right,
from,
starting at
5.
5 o'clock here.
yes, I won't put
And it
many
doesn't have a
minutes.
termination. Yeah.
And then if somebody needs to come, just tell them what time to be here and we'll make it work.
What else?
Just a point of order, the minutes say Joe Blow made the motion and Bill Jones seconded. Is that required by state law, Ed?
Yes.
Is in the church, we're advised not to do that.
Well, under the open meetings law, someone, in this case is Brooke, is required to take minutes
So
and to keep them because they're public record.
I just didn't know if you had to say who made the motion and who seconded.
And then the vote.
We just say motion made, seconded, passed.
Yeah. Well, these don't have to be necessarily verbatim. I think the statute requires something that a reasonable person would be able to understand, not necessarily every word that was said, but that they would get the general idea.
In the church, we don't want somebody to come back 20 years later and say, you're the one that made it.
Oh, yeah.
In Presbyterian Church? I figured.
I just find that interesting, the detail. I was trying to save Brooke some time.
No, I think she's, the ones that she's done a good job
Oh, yeah.
on, and fairly summarizing what happened. And, but yes, she does have to put in who made the motion.
Which that brings up a point in changing the meeting time. I guess we would need to have a motion on that. So,
Yes.
The suggestion on the change of meeting is from 7 to 5 for the next 4 months foreseeable, with additional meetings added as needed. Is that the way everybody understands the motion
At this location.
at this location? So would someone like to make that motion?
I will, that's a no-brainer.
Okay, second?
Good. Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
So I have listed for the next meetings being July 21, August 18, September 15, and October 20th.
I'll have to put it in my calendar, set it up as meetings so I get some reminders.
July 21, August 18, September 15, October 20.
What else? That's all that's on the agenda tonight. Has anybody got anything else they'd like to discuss? Check the videos out if you get a chance. Nothing else? I hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Let's get out of here.
It's all quiet. This
The
meeting.
next meeting will be 5 o'clock next month.
I'm sorry?
The next meeting.
Yes, sir. On July the 21st, it will be at 5 o'clock.
That modeled the National Rifle Association's recommendation.